A very good morning to everyone present here. I, Aishwarya Hattiholi,
And I, Samika Ghoshal, welcome you all to join us in our celebration of ICMR and ITM Foundation Day.
we have come a long way since the foundation of this institute and today's inauguration by the Honorable Vice President of India. And who better to tell us about the institute's challenges and successes than our director?
We would like to call upon Dr. Subarna Roy, Director, ICMR and ITM, to welcome today's gathering and tell us about this institute.
Namaskar and a very good morning to all of you. Respected Dr. Bahal sir, our Secretary, the DG ICMR, Joint Secretary Anunagar ji, Lakshminarayan ji, my colleagues from ICMR and my colleagues from National Institute of Traditional Medicine, those who have come from outside, collaborators, and dear students. First of all, let me congratulate all of you for your efforts in making the inaugural program a grand success. Actually, I have not prepared a single line for this particular event. I did not even see what was the program. Yesterday night, I just asked sir that what time should we keep and what we should keep and we should not. Because it's now a kind of cooling period after the tensions that we had, all of us, over the last few days. But from my heart and from on behalf of the entire NITM, I thank the Secretary DHR, Dr. Rajiv Bahal, because it was because of him that we actually got the Vice President here and we are seeing this day in such a big manner. A big round of applause for him. So it was only one mail which I just wrote, and then everything else fell in place. And as it happens with the visits of dignitaries of such stature, a lot of other lines also, or new ideas also come, and new avenues also open up. And this was also no less, be it with the Honorable Vice President or with the Secretary DHR himself. Yesterday, we had the display of the stalls, and I think we should all learn from sir how we actually explain our research to people. The communication is very, very important. And I think time has come that we should all try to narrate story with every part of the research that we do. And I will just tell you the achievements of this last year in 2-3 lines. This year had been a landmark year in the history of this institute, as we sit here on this particular building after its inauguration on December 14, 2023. And we are extremely delighted that we have both the Secretary and the Joint Secretary of DHR on the first Foundation Day celebration that is being happening from this institute. So infrastructure-wise, it had been a great year for all of us. We have got a good number of equipments also, thanks to ICMR. I also requested sir to help us with some of the small equipments which we'll need to equip these labs that we have shifted now last week. This year, we had the strategic review by DG ICMR himself, and he had given some 5-point agenda for us. And one of them was to develop a network of institutions where we can carry out some of the clinical trials, particularly on integrative health. And we had given expression of interest on our websites, and I'm happy to say that we have developed that network. And depending on the expertise of these particular collaborators and depending on the kind of intramural studies that are approved and will be approved, we are taking these partners in our network so that we can carry out these studies not only at Belgaum but also outside the city in the region. We had also conducted the first meeting, stakeholders meeting with the Ministry of Ayush and the directors of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences across the country to identify researchable or translational those leads that can be translated from the Ayush systems across Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, Swarikpa for infectious diseases. 3 of them we had identified. So that is not a single event, but it is a work in progress that we started. And I am sure by the end of this year, we will be able to zero in on a couple of such leads, which can be taken for research further. On the front, as a regional medical research center, which we had been continuing to work on with the state government, we had conducted a major training program for the state health officials, and 14 districts of North Karnataka, the epidemiologists, the microbiologists were trained, and particularly to be able to identify emerging diseases and to step up surveillance and how the labs can be connected well. So it was more of a epidemiology and the laboratory connect that this workshop made. And after that, there had been several requests to conduct it in Bangalore. So we will try to organize one in Bangalore, perhaps in the Arogya Soda itself. We also had the workshop on integrative health clinical trials. So we were again fortunate to have quite a number of scientists coming from ICMR headquarters, as well as from the various sister institutes of our council to come and give training to these people. And I think today's event actually will take our institute to the next level. We have now come out of our shell, whether knowingly or unknowingly, but always we are aware that once people know about us, we need to respond to the needs of the people, and we need to show that we are performing well and we are actually giving the deliverables which are expected from us from time to time. So with this, I would wish everybody a very happy Foundation Day for the Institute. And once again, I thank the entire team members, the scientists. I cannot name anyone because everybody has worked so hard day in and day out. I just don't have words to thank them. So, and I can tell you that you have made us, our institute, proud, you have made ICMR proud, and you have made Department of Health Research proud. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now request Srimati Anu Nagar, Joint Secretary DHR, to say a few words.
So, very good afternoon to you, respected sir, Secretary DHR, Director of the Institute, and all the esteemed colleagues here. So, congratulations to you all for such a wonderful program. And it was a team effort that you could actually impress the Vice President, and he asked for a herbal garden to be made in his official residence as well as his village. So that speaks about the professional work that you have shown. So I would not like to say much because sir would be talking to you anyway, but I would just, I noted a few points when the VP sir was speaking, and he said that it's very important that we work on the preventive medicine, that I am sure you would be doing something and traditional drugs, traditional herbs have a lot of role to play in that. He talked about the dissemination and communication, that whatever work you are doing, everybody in the country should know that there is NITM in Belagavi and they must visit that. So you need to make that kind of communication. People should know about your work. He talked about the traditional medicine not having side effects. So that is another part of communication that we have to spread. Then we have to kind of approach the corporates. He said that for supporting R&D, we have to somehow bring them here. So maybe we need some kind of orientation programs for the big ones that are here in the state of Karnataka to begin with, and we can call them. He talked about interaction at the panchayat level. How can we involve the panchayats, and because they are the custodians of all the herbal repository that we have. And he talked about the Viksit Bharat and how we can be partners and how we can actually take this whole giant country forward. So with this, I think I'll just reiterate his words and wish you all the best, and thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We would now request Dr. Manish Barwalia, Scientist E, ICMR and ITM, to introduce our speaker for today's occasion.
Good morning, everyone. Today we are honored to have with us our beloved and respected Dr. Rajeev Bahel sir, Secretary, Department of Health Research and Director General, Indian Council of Medical Research. Sir is a physician scientist with specialization in pediatrics from University of Delhi. He has PhD in Public Health from All India Institute of Medical Sciences. He received an honorary doctorate from University of Bergen, Norway in 2022 for his contribution to maternal and child health research. Sir has demonstrated a leadership in health research and translating research to public health policy both in India and at a global level over the past 3 decades. He is having 250 papers in peer-reviewed journals with H index of 78 that positions him among top 1% of scientists globally. Dr. Bahel sir has been serving as Secretary DHR and DG ICMR since 7th October 2022. Prior to this, he held a position of Head of Research on Maternal, Newborn, Child and Adolescent Health at WHO Geneva. Dr. Bahel was a scientist in ICMR Advanced Center for Diarrheal Disease in Nutritional Research at AIIMS, New Delhi before that. And his expertise includes setting the research agenda, conceptualization and implementing research studies with excellence, data analysis, translating research findings into public health policy and program. Sir has been instrumental in overseeing population-based multi-country research studies in over 20 countries in Asia and Africa, and has contributed to strengthening research capacity in over 50 institutions. Research conducted by Sir had significant impact on health policy and programs, and has the potential of saving over more than 10 lakh lives every year. And his notable contribution includes use of zinc in treatment of diarrhea, early initiation and exclusive breastfeeding, outpatient treatment of newborns with severe infections, and immediate initiation of kangaroo mother care after birth in mother-newborn intensive care units. With this short introduction of Dr. Rajeev Bahel sir, I invite sir to deliver his speech on research within ICMR, vision, strategy and action.
Thank you very much for that very kind introduction. Before I start, I'd like to start with congratulations to everybody who has worked so hard to make this visit of Honorable Vice President of India a success. May I request everybody to come here in front, the whole team that worked, or come on stage if the stage is weak, then everybody to stand here. With the leader. And Dr. Lakshmi Narayan, Tushar ji, सब लोग इधर आ जाओ, स्टेज पे आ जाओ. अगर स्टेज टूटेगा नहीं तो सब आ जाओ. पीछे जो हैं वो भी, लास्ट में जो बैठे हैं आके, सब लोगों ने जिन्होंने काम किया है, सब आइए, ऊपर आइए, यहाँ पे इधर आओ, इधर सेंटर में फोटो खींचेंगे सबकी, इधर जाइए, जाइए जाइए, प्लीज कम ऑल ऑफ यू, आई वॉन्ट एवरीबडी टू बी हियर, जल्दी से आइए, प्लीज कम। सब आओ इधर, मेरे पीछे नहीं रहिए, फोटो उधर से आएगी, इधर जाओ, दो लाइन में आ जाओ, एक लाइन आगे एक लाइन पीछे, यंग लोग थोड़ा नीचे बैठ सकते हैं, सब आ जाओ इधर, सब आगे आ जाओ। हाउ डू वी मेक 2 rows? डॉक्टर सुपर्णा, सब दिखेंगे? ये जो लोग पीछे हैं वो तो दिखेंगे ही नहीं। ऐसे करो, 1 रो नीचे बना लो, नीचे खड़े हो जाओ, 1 रो, एक रो नीचे चले जाओ, हाँ या बैठ जाओ, बैठ जाओ, कुछ लोग बैठ जाओ पीछे, बैठिए बैठिए, कुछ लोग बैठ जाओ, कुछ लोग खड़े हो जाओ, हाँ आओ इधर आओ, आइए, प्लीज कम। सरिता, यू टू, हमारा लास्ट मिनट स्पीकर। ओके, ऑल ऑफ अस विल गिव ऑल ऑफ देम ए बिग राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज। वेल डन। चलो ये सबकी फोटो लो। हाँ, नहीं नहीं, I will इसको नहीं सर, ये टेप फिक्स। So we know how much hard work is needed for this kind of function to go very smoothly, very nicely, and you might have seen in the speech of the Vice President, but also what he spoke to us outside and after the function, how impressed he is with the work that you all have been doing. So my heartiest congratulations to you. And since all of you have been working over the weekend, Sunday, to make this happen, for tomorrow we can declare work from home, other than the ones who are required to be here, other people can do their work from home. Okay, excellent. So now that we have gone through that, we should come to the foundation day of the institute. I would very much like to welcome Dr. Subarna Roy, Joint Secretary Anu Nagar, Deputy Director General of ICMR Administration, Dr. Lakshmi Narayan, all the family ICMR, Tushar ji from DHR, our director, from ICMR, Dr. Sarita and her team of communications, our colleagues from different departments of the government, different institutions, collaborators, and all the NITM scientists and students. This institute is a young institute, but what I am really impressed is that the scientists are even younger. So you people are the future of this institution, but also the ICMR in general. No institution is made by infrastructure. Infrastructure is necessary. Buildings are necessary. Lab equipment are necessary. However, institutes are made by people. Institutions are made by people who work in those institutions. You people are the institution. You are NITM. So I would like to speak to you to share with you some of my thoughts on what I think you should do, how you should prepare, but also tell you what we are doing at ICMR headquarters in order to facilitate your work and for you to be able to do things in a way that would make you truly a national institution. Although you have done some wonderful things, as were shown by the team today to the Vice President of India, please remember that we need to do maybe 10 or 100 times more eventually to become truly a national institute of traditional medicine of Indian Council of Medical Research. However, long journeys are made with the first few initial steps. And once you are taking those steps really well, you are well on your way. So I have one request before I talk about the vision and the strategy and actions that we are going to talk about, that each one of the things that you showed today, make sure that within a short period of time, they are taken to their logical conclusion. I don't mean to say that every one of them will work and reach the people of India, but some of them will work, and we should not hesitate and we should not just keep it on the simmer, on the back burner for the next years and years to come. Then people will lose interest. Now that you have shown this to the Vice President of this country, within a year, 2 years, 3 years, we should be taking all these to their conclusion to say, no, they did not work, or yes, they worked and this is what we have produced with them. Because once you do that for the first 5 products, then you have a path to taking this institution to great heights. I have seen this building and I have seen the way the director and all of you have worked to make it beautifully furnished, as well as really put your heart and soul into it in terms of how you want to make it functional. So ICMR, the country, can provide you with all this. It can provide you with the building, with the furniture, with the equipment, with everything else. All the rest is from within you. How motivated you are, what you want to achieve, what is your level of ambition, what is your dream. A lot of people talk about dreams, but our honorable ex-president and the father, one of the fathers of our missile and rocket technologies, President Kalam, said, dreams are not what you do while you are sleeping. Dreams are what keep you awake. Those are the dreams. And one day, one of my friends said something which really struck with me. He said that when we were in medical college and we were young, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, everybody had a dream, what they would like to do in their life. And he was saying that my observation is most of the people, 95% of the people achieved their dreams. Only 5% to 10% people are unfortunate. They had some health problem, some family problem, some financial problem. But most people will achieve their dreams. And where is the problem? The problem is they dreamed too small. They had very small dreams. To dream big, you need the confidence in you that you can achieve those dreams. But you will never achieve a big dream unless you have the courage to dream big. Had the pioneers like Vikram Sarabhai, Homi Jahangir Baba, others not dreamed that India will be a space power, we would not have made Chandrayaan. We would not have made Aditya. We would not be ready with the Gaganyaan. ये तभी होता है जब they had the guts, the courage to dream big. Dreaming big requires courage and requires self-confidence. And if anything in the past decade, one thing that has changed in this country is our confidence in our own research, in technology, in science in this country, so much so that a vaccine made by ICMR in collaboration with a private company was taken by the Honorable Prime Minister of India. That is the confidence that the government is showing in us. What do we have to do in return is to return that confidence in us by our commitment and effort and making things happen and not waiting for everything to be perfect around us. When I talk to people, they tell me other countries do well, NIH does well because their systems are good. So what does it mean? They say, okay, you leave something for procurement in the evening, the next morning it is there. Okay, wonderful. They have reached that stage. Does it mean that we have to wait for that to happen? Until we don't have that, we will not do anything. After all, people in India are achieving big things. The same type of problems exist for ISRO. They have the same accountants, same people, same joint secretaries, same administrative officers, same scientists. Everybody is the same. They are same kind of people like you. Where is ISRO? All these institutes are around you. Do they look any different from you people, the scientists? Absolutely not. They are the same. They have the same types of education. And yet they manage to achieve. So it is easy to achieve things when everything is perfect around you. But the real strength is that you should have the persistence to, despite the fact that it is difficult, recruitment is difficult, procurement is difficult, yet you will be able to do this. Next, I have this slide. So I want to talk to you about the vision of ICMR. And our vision is that Indian institutions will achieve global leadership in health research and solve health problems of our citizens. This is my vision for this institute as well. That when you think, you say you will be a global leader. When I said that in the presence of the Vice President of India, I meant it. I know that you can and you will achieve this leadership. But where are we? We shouldn't be just saying these things and not looking at the reality. The reality is, this is one of the global ranking of Indian institutions by Scimago, which is a Spanish organization, and it is a non-government organization, and it puts together, based on some criteria which are shown below, research contributes to 50% of the, can you see the slides? You can't see the bottom because of the chairs. Shall we move the chairs to the side? किसी को बुला के थोड़ा साइड में कर दीजिए. नहीं, चेयर तो साइड ही कर लेते हैं. हाँ, आप बेशक नीचे आ जाइए, सामने आ जाइए. Is it better? Okay. So there are 3 criteria. One simply is research. ठीक है, उसकी जरूरत नहीं है. I think you can see most of the screen, or you want them to remove those chairs also? हटा दो. So one is research, which is most important. 50% is based on the research publications, the impact factor of the journals in which it is published, the number of scientists who are publishing. Then 30% is related to innovation. What is that research leading to? Patents, products, commercialized products, etc. But 20% is society's interest in your research, which means communicating it appropriately. 5 of you who did the communication, you did a fantastic job. Thank you very much. But please learn on how to communicate something which is in the same vein, scientifically correct, technically correct, and yet in plain, simple language. Now, people think that simplicity is easy. Let me tell you, it is the most difficult thing. You may think, क्या है? मैं भी तो यही बोल रहा था. But it is the most difficult thing to say things in a simple way. Remember a teacher, your best teacher. You will no doubt think about somebody who was able to explain complicated things in a very simple way. You don't like teachers who are complicated, you don't understand, who throw bouncers at you. You only remember those teachers who were able to take complicated issues, concepts, simplify, but in the right way, in the correct way. Simplification does not mean dumbing it down. Simplification means how to say something which is, and I learned this when for the first time I went to listen to a Nobel laureate. And I thought, I don't know if I'll understand any immunology that he will tell me. And believe me, if a class 10 student was sitting there, he or she would have understood every single word of what the Nobel laureate told, because he had not only the ability to convert something into simplicity, but also the confidence that he doesn't have to make things complicated to look. He knew he is a Nobel laureate. So when you have the confidence that you know, you can simplify. Please try to reach out to the society through tweets, through talking to people, through articles in lay press, etc., so that social media, website, etc., we are disseminating our research. But where are we? There is no institution in the top 100 in India. These are medical research institutions. The only medical institution is AIIMS New Delhi, which is in the top 250, 228 rank. Next is CSIR, which means that health-related, medicine-related work like CDRI and others are doing. They are ranked 578. Then there is PGI Chandigarh and the Indian Council of Medical Research, including all the 27 institutes, is only ranked 1048. Is this global leadership? Not yet. So we know we have a long way to go. We have the confidence that we will go there. We will reach the top 100. Not in 100 years, but in the next 5 years. How are you going to do it? That is what I want each one of you to introspect and think. Next. I have it. These are also the top scientists in the world. To be in the top 2% scientists in the world globally, you need an H index of over 50. I know that you don't have it today. But if you don't know that you have to reach there, then you will not. So we must publish high impact things, things that matter. We must do work that has impact to get there. Otherwise, how will we compete with the United States of America? They have 9,000 people. France has 500. India, maybe a couple of hundred. In the whole country, we are in the top 2%. How do we reach there is the question. So in my view, you reach there by working on key problems of this country, the important problems of this country, like elimination of TB, malaria, filariasis, Kala Azar, leprosy, non-communicable diseases like prevention and management of non-communicable diseases, mental health problems, aging, reduction in neonatal mortality, childhood malnutrition and anemia through solutions which are either drugs, vaccines, medical devices, diagnostics, which are indigenous, but it needs to be fast. We cannot wait for 20 years to produce these. They need to be affordable. And some of the examples you showed are in that category. But also there can be improved quality of healthcare through clinical care at primary, secondary and tertiary level, interventions which are not technology, but which are trying to understand what works. It could be a practice. It may not be only always a technology. And similarly, taking research to people, taking the fruits of research to people. If we do that, we can achieve what we want to. But what strategic changes are we making at ICMR? Our first strategic change is focus on finding solutions. Why? Because when I took over as DG ICMR and Secretary DHR, my first job was to analyze where we were putting our effort. And 70% of our effort was in describing the problem. What is the problem? How difficult is the problem? What are we doing about the problem, etc. Except only 30% effort was on discovering new treatments, developing them, doing clinical trials, preclinical animal studies and clinical trials on them, and in delivering those interventions to the people of this country. So what we have done in the past year is to change that around. Our goal was we'll turn around and have 70% of our effort in finding solutions, only 30% of our effort in describing what are the issues and the problems. Because the problems we know, we don't need to keep on defining them again and again. For example, if I know there is 10% diabetes, next year I will say now it's 12%. Next year it is 13.5%. Sure, we need to know the trend. However, we need to also try to solve that problem. Otherwise, people will lose faith in ICMR. They want to know the solution. They don't want to know only the problem. They are happy to hear or sad to hear that we have found that 58,000 deaths occurred due to snake bite. And that there is a lot of problem in reaching and doing this. But what is the question? Can you do something? What can we do to save their lives? If they don't reach a hospital, they know that it is difficult to reach a hospital. So immediately he got interested when, where is Dr. Harish? When you told him that we are making something that people can take at home. This is exactly what he wanted, a kit in every village where they can give something to save a person's life or at least to delay until they can reach a place where they can get the appropriate treatment. So this is what we are talking about, solutions to the problems, not only. So the projects that we funded this year, this is the extramural small grants, these Centers for Advanced Research, the National Health Priority Programs, the intermediate grants. You can see everywhere green means solution. Where we are funding, we are trying to find solution. And the white is for describing what the problems are. This is our intramural program of all our institutes. It is still 58% green and 42% white. We can still do better. I don't want description to be more than 25% of our effort. 75% of our effort should be in finding solutions. That is my first big message to you. Don't just describe, I have a herbarium. Description. Good, I need that. But what are my next steps? What did I find? Where are my 30, 35, 40, 50 leads that I have taken forward? Those are what will find the solutions. So describing something, herb-drug interaction, good that you describe them. What do you then do with them? Do you find the right things to tell people what to do? Do you tell them don't use this with that? Those are the products, those are the solutions. Just don't describe, but also move forward. Take it through its logical conclusion from description to discovery, development and delivery. That is the key message. What are the other things ICMR is doing? Research capacity is one of our biggest problems. Even our own scientists can do a lot more in developing their capacity. Please understand that each one of us does not have the whole repertoire. And I will end with that slide to show you what you need to do to learn to be a super scientist or researcher. We all think all I need is my area of work. Good, that is required. 80% of your learning can be in your own specialty. But 20 to 30% of your learning has to be generic, outside of, without which you will fail miserably. If I ask you what is the most common comment, Dr. Subarna Roy, most common comment of any committee on a project, that why they think it is not a good project. What are the one or two things? Anything? So one is that it doesn't have the solution, the translation. Anybody else? Methodologically, what is the big problems? What do you get as comments कि ये ठीक नहीं है? Anybody? Research methods में सबसे ज़्यादा comment किस चीज़ पे आते हैं? हाँ? Quality of the method, but what are the most common? Sample size. एक example है. How many times you see sample size is insufficient, is not appropriately calculated. कितना मुश्किल है sample size सीखना? How difficult is it? कितने लोगों को sample size के बारे में अच्छे से आता है? हाथ खड़ा कीजिए. Nobody? Okay, I can raise my hand. Some of you can raise your hand. कितना time लगता है? I can tell you. Any single person, you give that person to me for 2 weeks, I will make you the guru of sample size. You will know everything about sample size. You will be able to teach it to biostatisticians. 2 हफ्ते. It requires 2 weeks of effort, hard work on your part, and a good teacher. You can learn sample size. Please don't think that it is the realm of biostatisticians. Biostatisticians are there to help check, do things with you. Unless you learn yourself, you will never be able to really think about a good project. ये कमियां छोटी छोटी 2 हफ्ते का टाइम चाहिए. ऐसे 2, 4, 6 चीजें और हैं. Research design, research methods, 4 weeks. 4 weeks of learning. Data analysis principles, 3-4 weeks. And then practice. Each one of those things is what all of you require, not only those who are doing biostatistics or doing research or epidemiology. Everybody needs that. Everybody needs to understand lab methods. Coefficient of variation क्या है? वो तो आप बता दोगे. पर जो epidemiologist है, जो medical scientist है, वो उसको कहेगा मुझे क्या पता लैब में क्या होता है, वो तो दूसरे लोग करते हैं. Then you will not be able to be a good scientist. You talk to any good scientist in an NIH lab, in a CDC institute, anywhere in the world, they will know so much more about the entire research, not only what they is their own area. Methods are key. Also, we have a bad habit. We don't read. We don't read. We only read what comes very, very essential. If you don't read literature, it's not only in conferences that you will go and learn. It's about reading literature. Every day, every scientist must at least read 1 paper. I'm not talking about hundreds of them. एक पेपर, अच्छा पेपर ढूंढ के एक पढ़ लीजिए. लेकिन पढ़ने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि you just skim through it. When I say read, you learn how they have done each part of the project. And read good papers, high quality papers in good journals, so that you learn methods, you learn how they communicate, how they write, what have they done, how have they done the analysis. That's what you will not know you are learning, but you will continue to learn. I am asking you 1 paper a day. Please don't forget how many people in this country have, or in anywhere in the world, have only research as their work. When I showed you All India Institute of Medical Sciences, they do clinical work 12 hours a day. After that, they teach students, MBBS, MD students, DM students, and after that, they do research. And yet, they are ahead of many institutions, all institutions in this country. Whereas ICMR scientists have no other job but to do research. If we are not academic, if we don't learn. And all of you who are young scientists in their 20s and 30s, be voracious. You read 3, 4 papers a day, not just the book. Textbooks are for school students. You people need to read literature, interesting news, interesting papers, interesting articles. So please read. We are reforming research grants to give bigger grants. My analysis of intramural program was that out of the 700 crore rupees we are giving to 27 institutes, less than 10% was being used to actually conduct research. The rest was in maintenance of buildings, lawns, electricity, travel, all the other maintenance functions. So if we are not going to invest in research and only some extramural grants from ICMR or other sources. So we have created an intramural grants program on which priorities of the institute are going to be funded. If you people are able to do that, and you are lucky to have Dr. Subarna Roy as your director. He is one of our good directors who has got this right, and he is working towards getting the institutional priorities included in these programs. So please continue to do that. We are strengthening the overall research ecosystem, the medtech product development. I'll talk a little bit about each one of them and greater use of So functional intramural program. We have an intramural leadership now at headquarters, and all the heads have been selected with open advertisement, not just nominated by DG ICMR. We have intramural grants only for ICMR scientists on the 5 priorities identified by the institute, but good quality projects only. So a 2-step selection process, so that you don't think this is free money. I can write anything and I'll get the funding. No, because I can give you the money. Then you will do the work and it will not be done in a way that it can be published or can be taken to a commercialized product later. It is much better to have a rigorous process of selection of the project itself, so that it guarantees that you will do a high quality project, and then you can have greater chances of good publications as well as use in the. We gave grants last year of 210 crores. This is short. What I have written for the next year, I want it to be 500 crores for the institutions. So big increase in that. There is a call for ignition grants for young scientists, which we are processing now. And Intramural Research Summit 2023 happened. We are now planning 2024. Dr. Sarita is working on that within the next 3-4 months after the summer, because Delhi burns in summer. So we don't want you to all come to Delhi in that period. But after the summer, we will appreciate and honor those people who have done good work, so that there is a positive sense of competition, not a negative sense. And your competition is not necessarily with your next scientist who is sitting next to you. Your competition is with the rest of the world. So it is teamwork that is going to be rewarded. There will be special prizes for teamwork this time. The best teamwork will be rewarded. On research capacity, you must have all heard, this gave me immense pleasure, because now we have the ACSIR, ICMR Faculty of Medical Research, which we can give our own degrees from this faculty for PhD in the institutes. So there will be selection process, However, what I want is, I want best quality PhD in the country. And for that, I have put 3 criteria. One, all the PhD students should have a fellowship. They should not be worried about their fellowship. They should not rely only on project funding. They should have full 5 years of fellowship. And for that, we have increased the number of fellowships for ICMR. There are now special fellowships for ICMR, and we can increase their number even further. Our Joint Secretary is working to make sure that we have adequate resources. The second thing is, I want the students to work in projects that have resources. So put them on funded projects, intramural or extramural funds, not for their salaries, but for the projects so they can work in synergy with the funded projects. And third, we have put criteria for faculty. Only those with an H index of at least 16 will be supervisors, and those with at least 8 will be co-supervisors. It was a little even higher. I had put a higher criteria, which we have lowered a little bit based on our review of literature of what kind of H indices are norms across globally institutions. So we have lowered them a little bit from 20 to 16 and 12 to 8, but there are criteria. ACSIR doesn't have the criteria, does not matter. But we want that we will only have, and this should also encourage all of you to quickly, who are not at 16, to work hard to get over 16. What does H index of 16 mean? Can anybody tell me? What do you need to get an H index of 16? Any young scientist or student? So 16 publications, at least 16 publications, cited at least 16, or each one of them should be cited 16 times or more, which means other people have used your work. So if you have to have so many papers, so if you need 16 papers which are cited 16 or more times, you need at least 3 times more papers. And you need to work on important projects. Otherwise, who will quote your paper? Nobody will cite your paper unless it is an important paper in your area. You understand? But we are setting a bar for you. And it is not that difficult if you set your mind to it. Everybody should have a Google Scholar account. Because if you don't have an account, nobody is looking. Globally, they are not even counting you as a scientist. So if we say number of scientists in India, they will, if you don't have an account, it means, and your account must be public. It cannot be private that only you can see your H index. Because then anybody doing rating of your work or saying that are you a scientist in India, they are not counting you. You are not counted as an Indian scientist or a scientist in the world if you don't have a public H index, public Google Scholar account. Now we have more than 100 scientists in ICMR who have applied for PhD. Most of them are MBBS and MD people who did not have a PhD. I've encouraged them to apply for a PhD so that they learn research methods. They know medical, clinical work, but they may not know nuances of research. So this is the funding. This is to give you confidence that in 10 years ago, our budget was only 400 crores. This is budgetary estimate in blue, and in the reddish pink orange color, we have this orange is revised estimate, which means what we were given at the end of the year to spend. So from 400 crores, In 5 years, we only the research part, not salaries, not equipment, not others, only research. So that increased. However, our expenditure did not increase as much. We were still spending, even during COVID, about 1,200 crores on supporting research. Last year, we increased that to 1,600 crores. And why am I particularly happy about this? Most countries, most research institutions have seen a decline in the post-COVID period. So, we did not see a decline. We saw a 33% rise in our expenditure. So, we are on the upswing. This was extremely important for me because I did not want us to go back to the pre-COVID numbers from 1,200 down to 1,100 or 1,000 crores. We wanted it to be on the upswing because the confidence we have gained, the contributions we have made during COVID, people keep that confidence in us, government keeps that confidence in us, finance and expenditure keeps that confidence in us, and we are seeing it. And this 1672, we are going to ask to almost double it next year. In the Viksit Bharat budget, we are going to ask for a doubling. I don't know how much we will receive. I will report to you next year. But that is my job. This is Anu Nagarji's job, Tushar's job, for us to work towards giving you the resources to do things and do them well. So I won't go into details of extramural, and you know that you can get money from intramural grants. You can get, and I will repeat this, we have not stopped what you were getting earlier. You can still get those small grants for your, from the 700 crores that you had for proof of concept, for others. Please continue to get that. Some people understood that that intramural that you were doing earlier, you can't do now. No. We never stopped it. Automatically people started, administrative officers, account officers, automatically sometimes, and directors assumed. We never stopped that. This is additional. You continue with what you were spending earlier for proof of concept, small grant, 5 lakh here, 10 lakh there, 15 lakh. That is not stopped. These are additional opportunities. They only replace you cannot apply for extramural grants to ICMR, but you can still apply for extramural grants to any other organization, any other agency. One thing that we are particularly also proud of, if I am proud of some things, this is the second one after the intramural grant, and that is this MedTech or health technology pathway, highway that we are creating right from conceptualization to support in pre-compliance, regulatory strategy. We have now an excellent relationship with CDSCO, Drug Controller's Office, which provides the regulatory strategy not only to ICMR institutes, but to anybody else in the country, any startup, any company that comes to us. And preclinical and clinical evaluation, just before I was talking to JS and our director that we need to get the GLP certifications so that we can support directly this preclinical evaluation, and then after a product is confirmed to be safe and efficacious by our drug controller, we are able to issue guidelines. We have created a center for guidelines in DHR and health technology assessment to get cost effectiveness so that people can procure, governments and private sector can procure this technology. All this is the ecosystem for getting good technology. So if you have a drug for diabetes, osteoarthritis, snake bite, etc., it is going to go through the same process. In fact, we are also thinking about a company which we have given the proposal. It is under consideration of expenditure that we want to make a Section 8 company like BIRAC, where medical innovations, development, acceleration will happen. It can be a company, it can be a council, and this will be a no profit, no loss Section 8 company that will make it even more easy for us to engage with industry and work towards getting there. Evidence, three big things: Center for Evidence for Guidelines, I talked about that, HTA, attached office. It used to be a project, but with efforts of DHR, it has become a full-fledged attached office in DHR. And we are creating a research to action vertical as well. So this will push all the research that is available from ICMR to be used by states and central government. For the institute, a few suggestions. You must expand and enhance your intramural grants. This should be one of your big ticket, because without resource, nothing is possible. And without having good ideas and good proposals, you will not get resources. That I will make sure that only if you have good ideas, good proposal, good methodology, will you get the resource. But it will be available. Greater value to impact of research, impactful things which will change people, change people's lives, change their health, change their well-being. Think about those things. Don't think that you are just there to publish, get your promotion, become from scientist B, C, D, E, F, G, etc. That's not the purpose. You are here. You are here to serve a bigger purpose for this country. Promotions will follow you. For those of you who've seen my favorite film, Three Idiots, what does Ranchhod Das say? He says, कामयाबी हासिल करो, काबिलियत हासिल करो, कामयाबी तुम्हारे पीछे भागेगी. काबिलियत हासिल करो. ये मत सोचो कि मुझे कुछ बनना है, अपने आप बन जाओगे. You will become, you will get promoted without even thinking. That should not even cross your mind कि मुझे मेरा assessment promotion होना है, because you have done such good work beforehand that this doesn't matter. It will automatically come, which means if you are competent, if you do good work, success will run behind you. You are not going to run behind success. Ease of doing research, we make it so complicated. So this is continuous effort with our administration, with our accounts, with our teams in headquarters and their administration and their accounts. This is a continuous effort which is frustrating on a daily basis, as much for you, as much for your director, and as much for me. Because it slows us down. However, unless administration and accounts understands what they are doing, what we are doing, what do we want, why do we want to do it, they will not be able to facilitate it. They will not be able to use the rules and regulations correctly. Otherwise, they feel a little unsure and then they will stop you. But if they know why you are doing it, what are you doing, what is happening, it is unlikely they will stop you. And finally, operationalizing the entrepreneurship policy. We have made a policy in which a scientist who produces something will also get financial incentive. But the team will get a financial incentive. We are making the rules and regulations in a way that it is not seen to be just greed, but it is incentive for those people who produce something of value. For you who are scientists, conduct impactful research, focus on discovery, development, and delivery, increase your patents, focus on high impact publications. When you are doing international collaborations, don't just be satisfied कि कोई कर रहा है मैं साथ में कुछ थोड़ा सा कर लूँ. Get into the leadership on international collaborations, partner with industry, collaborate with other institutes. Without collaboration, nothing is possible. How many are you? 14 people. 14 people cannot function on their own, but if you have 10 other institutions, 14 are now supported by 140. Now you are a force to reckon with. So collaborations are key, but collaborations can only happen with generosity. You should learn to give before you ask to take. You should build that trust that you are not exploiting or using those institutions, but it is a genuine, true partnership. Cite relevant Indian publications. I have seen everybody will cite something that is published in the Lancet by some foreign institution. Whether if you have the similar paper, why should we not cite Indian publications which are highly relevant? But we want to cite only outside work, which is not right. Promote Indian publications through media, etc. And this is the plan that we have put together for the next 5 years. Accelerated development of indigenous, affordable, and accessible health technologies is our one big goal. And under this goal, there are many activities. Second is develop solutions for difficult and resistant problems like climate change, like malnutrition, anemia, antimicrobial resistance, cancer, mental health, non-communicable diseases. Digital health solutions. Use research evidence in public health programs and clinical practice. Develop technology-enhanced surveillance models for future pandemic preparedness and our ability to make countermeasures to those faster than we did last time. If we were able to make a diagnostic in 3 months, we want to make it in 3 weeks. If we were able to make a vaccine in 11 months or 10 months, we want to make it in 3 months. How do we do that? That is what we need to learn and to achieve high global ranking of Indian institutions. So those are our goals for the next year. We have encouraged each institute to make your own goals with the relevant goals and say how will you contribute to all of them. This is a team effort from headquarters and ICMR DHR team. Our aim is to provide strategic direction to you. That is our duty, and to remove whatever administrative bottlenecks we can remove, including financing, including procurement, recruitment, and others. But the directors of the institute should make their own roadmap for achieving, and this is not just the director. When I made this, I involved each one of the directors of the institute and all the leaders in headquarters to think together. Similarly, for directors, it is important to do it with all others. Encourage young scientists and give them credit, because if the senior people keep the credit to themselves and don't give credit to others, my hallmark, my benchmark for that was my own mentor, who said that once I am 45 years old, I will never be the first author of any paper. I want the younger person to be the first author. I can be, you can be the last author. It has the same value. But people are so entrenched, they've still at 58 years of age, they want to be first authors on the paper. I don't know why. For me, I will give 5 marks negative to anybody who is a first author and is 50 years old. That means you are basically taking other people's credit. Whereas at being the last author, you can get the same credit as the first author. And then you look good because it is your team that has done the work. That is the global norm. If you are a corresponding author or a last author, you have the same credit as the first author. So why bother? And why should the director be? I did an analysis and I found that 33% of directors are excellent. They have very few papers of their own. They encourage others. 1/3 are in the middle, and 1/3 people of our own directors, they were on 50% of the papers as authors. Many of them in a large number of papers were first and last authors. And I was telling them, please, try and motivate your scientists. And one way to do that is to show them generosity. If you are generous, then they will be in turn generous with their younger colleagues. So generosity in sharing credit is extremely important. So is research integrity. So please, this is not about if you cheat once on data, it is enough for you to spoil your whole career. Nobody will trust you. People don't trust the whole institution. People stop trusting the entire country's research if they find loss of integrity ever. So you cannot say, I don't have the data. Rats ate my data. That is not possible. Even after 5 years, 10 years, somebody wants to see the raw data. They should be able to see it. Research integrity is of high importance. Provide technical and administrative guidance, and for scientists to do the research. My last slide. And I am already 3 minutes late for leaving, but I will spend 2-3 minutes on this. Skills that you need to be a good researcher. This is from my personal experience. This is what my guru told me when the day I joined him as a researcher. I was an MD pediatrics on that day. It was 1993. I had done my senior residency, 1 year of senior residency, and I resigned and I joined Dr. M.K. Bhan at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences as a research officer. And he told me, and I joined PhD immediately thereafter. He told me, he gave me this list. He didn't give a list like this, but every day he would tell me, and I made this list. That to be a good researcher, if you know all this, you will be a perfect researcher. And I took it to heart. And I can tell you, you bring anybody in the world on these 10 issues, I'll be able to talk to these people because I've done all of them myself, I've learned them, and I've applied them. So what are those 10 things? Methods. Qualitative and quantitative methods. So don't think, मुझे क्या ज़रूरत है? Qualitative, I'm a quantitative, I'm an epidemiologist, why should I learn focus groups or interviews? I made it a point that I learned both qualitative and quantitative methods. So I was obviously good already at quantitative methods. Those were the first thing I learned, but I learned each one of qualitative methods and applied them. Focus group discussion, key informant interviews, observations, everything. Trial of improved practices. Critical thinking, conceptualization. This is something which is not easily learned. How to think about a thing which is critical. We think it is God-given, but it can all be practiced. Grant proposal writing, protocol writing. Then lab skills. So some of you will have lab skills, but I did not have any lab skills. I had never worked in a lab, but I have done thousands of assays, immunological assays, microbiology, cultures. I have done atomic absorption spectrophotometry on 10,000 samples for zinc and copper. There was no lab in our unit at AIIMS that I did not work in, did not lead, did not do myself. I did not need to. I'm a doctor, I'm a pediatrician. But if I did not do this, I would not know about the labs today. Today I can understand what you are doing because I know what it means. I know how to standardize an assay. I know what it takes because I've done it myself. Bioethics. If I had not learnt it, I would not have been the vice chair of the WHO Ethics Committee for 6 years. I could because I knew it, and then I continued to learn. So you need bioethics, no matter what kind of a researcher you are. You need rigorous study implementation ensuring data integrity. This is not by chance. This is not only even by intent. You need to learn how to do this, how to document each step that you take, each standardization exercise that you do, data management, analysis, and interpretation of data. This is not for only statisticians. 10 years into learning, not even 10 years, 6 years after joining Dr. Barnes' lab and doing this, all the data analysis myself, I was teaching statistics. I have never had one course in statistics, but I have taught statistics in University of Bergen in Norway for years. And my classes on statistics were the most popular because they said statisticians की बात समझ में नहीं आती, लेकिन जब आप समझाते हो तो ये समझ में आता है कि क्या है, क्योंकि इजीली समझाते हैं आप अपने हिसाब से एज ए क्लिनिशियन कि इसका मतलब क्या है ये स्टैंडर्ड एरर, क्यों करना है, क्या है कॉन्फिडेंस इंटरवल, क्या है रिग्रेशन एनालिसिस. So I taught this for years. Systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Again, Dr. Ban, जाओ, वो Cochrane review है, वो करते हैं, Cochrane Center है एक, वहाँ पे है CMC वेल्लोर में, 3 दिन की ट्रेनिंग है, जाके करके आओ, उसके बाद 2-3 रिव्यू करो. I did it. It helped me immensely in WHO because their evidence synthesis is key. So if I had not learnt all these, I would not have been what I am. So you need to learn each one of these skills if you really want. If you don't learn all of them, doesn't matter. At least learn 50% of these, 70% of these, or as a team, learn to do as a group, all of them. Understanding and working with public health programs. So he used to take us to every discussion in the ministry. पीछे बैठ जाओ, सुन लो. तो आपकी जब डिस्कशन होते हैं अपने साइंटिस्ट को हमेशा ले जाओ, बोले ये हमारे सुनने के लिए बैठे हैं. सीखो कैसे पब्लिक हेल्थ का डिस्कशन होता है. What happens in those discussions at the highest level is very important for us to learn how public health programs function. Engagement with the community. You are not sitting in a lab and then say, पता नहीं कहाँ से सैंपल आ गए, हमने कर दिए, फिर जैसे आए वैसे कर दिए. कलेक्ट कैसे हुए, हुआ क्या, what did people tell the community, how did they engage the community, equally important. Costing and cost effectiveness. Again something, कोई बाहर से आया था, कोई कॉस्ट कह रहा था हम करेंगे, उनका तुम्हें सीखना है, मैंने कहा बिल्कुल, अच्छा लग जाओ इनके साथ. तो हमने एक टाइफाइड का कॉस्टिंग एनालिसिस किया, 2 पेपर मैंने पब्लिश किए, उसके बाद से मुझे सारी कॉस्टिंग की पूरी समझ है. I understand all the fundamentals of costing and cost effectiveness. I learned by just doing 2 papers. It was 3 months of effort, but it stays with you for life. So now when I have those 10 skills, I see myself in a different light. I can discuss this. Even if I don't do them every day, I can use it when I talk to you, when I'm giving advice, when I'm giving strategy. So eventually everything you learn, don't think मेरे को इसका क्या फायदा होगा, सोचो मत, सीखने में सोचो मत, करते जाओ, सीखते जाओ. If you learn, as I said, even 50% of what I have said here, you will become a force. You will become a force of nature. लोग कहेंगे ये बंदा है क्या, ये बोल क्या रहे हैं, बहुत अच्छा है. इसको ऐसे नहीं सोचो कि हम छोटे मोटे हैं. आप सीख सकते हैं, एक एक जना ये सब सीख सकता है। मैं भी तो 27 साल का था, एक एमडी करके पहुंच गया था, वो भी कोई एम्स का नहीं था, दिल्ली से मैंने एमडी किया, लेकिन अप्लाई करा, अपने को कमिट किया और सीखा, तो उसका फायदा होता है। मुझ में वो कॉन्फिडेंस आता है कि आई कैन नाउ टॉक अबाउट एनीथिंग। आई डिड नॉट डू इन्फेक्शियस डिजीज और एनसीडी, आई वॉज इन रिप्रोडक्टिव चाइल्ड हेल्थ न्यूट्रिशन, बट द मेथड्स आर द सेम, वट एवर यू डू। If you learn the methods, you will be good. This is not to replace what you already have. आप सब PhD किए हुए हैं, अपने एरिया में एक्सपर्ट हैं, उसको पढ़ते रहिए, ये सब तो उसके ऊपर सीखना है। लेकिन अगर सीखोगे तब बहुत बहुत प्रोग्रेस करो। सो आई ओनली हैव दैट मैसेज, डोंट बी ओवरवेल्म्ड। सब सीखा जा सकता है, एक एक करके। एक दिन में नहीं सीखना, 10 साल में सीखना है, 5 साल में सीखना है। बाय द टाइम यू आर 35, 40, you should get all of these, but start with those which are closest to you, which you immediately need. So, thank you all for very patient listening. I think we are already delayed. We'll just have to rush to the airport. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your encouraging words. This will be take a note for today. Especially in my note, it will be D cube, which you said, that is discovery, development, and delivery, and followed by research integrity, and last but not the least, that is teamwork. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
We request our director, Dr. Subarna Roy, to felicitate Dr. Rajiv Bell, Secretary DHR and DG ICMR.
We request Dr. Jyoti Bhatt, Scientist F, ICMR NITM, to felicitate our guest, Dr. Srimati Anu Nagar, Joint Secretary DHR.
We now request Dr. Banappa Ungar, Scientist E, ICMR NITM, to felicitate our guest, Dr. R. Lakshmi Narayanan, DDG Administration ICMR. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you.
So on the occasion of a foundation day, a poster competition was conducted on the topic health and well-being. We will now announce our winners for today's poster competition.
The poster was judged by a panel of 3 members: Dr. Supriya Bhalerao, Professor, Bharati Vidyapeeth, Pune; Dr. N. Sriram, Professor, MS Ramaya Institute of Technology, Bangalore; and Dr. Jyoti Bhatt, Scientist F, ICMR, NITM, Belgavi. I thank all the judges for joining us and evaluating the posters.
We now request Dr. Subarna Roy to give away the prizes. So the third prize goes to Dr. Sayogita Dikshit.
Can anyone please come and collect on their behalf if the person is not available?
The second prize goes to Mr. Sachin Hoskati. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I request Dr. R. Lakshmi Narayanan to give away the first prize. The first prize goes to Dr. Himanshu Joshi. Can anyone else on his behalf can collect the prize?
Thank you, sir. Congratulations to all the winners. Now we request Dr. Jyoti Bhatt to propose the vote of thanks.
Namaskar. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected dignitaries, guests, friends. So, on behalf of Director NITM and all the staff of ICMR NITM, I would like to thank, of course, the Honorable Vice President of India, Madam Vice President, and Governor of Karnataka for gracing the occasion and coming to our institute and motivating us. I'd like to thank Secretary DHR and DG ICMR, Dr. Rajiv Bahal, for not only giving the foundation oration and motivating us, but also guiding us on the preparations. He had come yesterday and took stock of all the situation and personally looked into all the matters. We also thank Joint Secretary Srimati Anu Nagar Madam for her guidance and efforts and also gracing the occasion. we'd like to heartfelt thanks to Dr. Lakshmi Narayan sir, DDG admin at ICMR headquarters, for being with us for 2 days and taking into every details of the preparations and guiding us through all the things. We also thank the communication team of ICMR headquarters, Dr. Sarita Nair, Dr. Shyamjeet, Mr. Shadan from GHS, for coming over and partnering us on media communications and guiding us through all the preparations, banners, everything. We thank our event management team, Innovations, for all the preparations, stage, sound systems, and all the event management of this function. I would like to thank our press and media partners, PIB, Sansad TV, Doordarshan, and all other local channels and print media who have given wide publicity and also been with us through this event. We are immensely thankful to the district administration, the district police department, all the other departments of districts like CPWD, BSNL, NIC, everyone who has partnered with us and worked on the tiniest details and the protocols for this visit. Lastly, but not the least, definitely, our ICMR and ITM team. I am immensely thankful to Dr. Subarna Roy, Director ICMR, for his dynamic leadership and leading from the front for this occasion. And I also thank each and every member of Team NITM, including our regular staff, project staff, students, housekeeping staff, maintenance staff, canteen, garden, and I beg your pardon if I forget anyone, but I thank each and every member of Team NITM for their immense contribution, working effortlessly through last, I think, more than 2 weeks, day and night, for working on all the details to make this event successful. Last but not the least, I thank you all the guests, for gracing this occasion, accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion. Thank you, each and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I request everyone to join us at STM for lunch. Thank you for joining us today.